Hmm. I think this thing might be recording. Hi, I'm your host, Dan Stafford, with the Midwestern Geek and Cali podcast, podcasting from 42 TARDIS Way in not sunny because it's at night, Temecula, California, summer's winter home, as I like to call it. And I have a few things to talk about tonight. Number one up, Google Voice is testing Wi-Fi calling, no call forwarding required. Interesting story on How to Geek. Apparently, Google is testing calling voice over IP directly from Google Voice, which means they are still supporting the Google Voice platform and have plans for it, which is a nice thing. And it's very much in beta. There's a lot of features missing, according to the article. As always, www.midwesterngeekandcali.com. Look for episode 35 and check out the show notes. The links for these stories are all there in the show notes on the episode. And next up, Facebook scans your messenger conversations and sometimes humans read them. Surprise! No kidding. It's an electronic platform, and you are sending messages through other people's hardware, other people's communication links, and you have to deal with whatever they want to do with your messaging. So Facebook messaging is not really private. Can your general average Facebook user see those messages? Probably not in most cases, but can people at Facebook see those messages, especially if they get flagged for something? Yeah, they can. So I wanted to point this out because Facebook is a mixed bag. I mean, you get a lot out of it. When I was a kid, there was no internet, there was no Facebook. And if your friends moved away, you just never spoke to them again. If you were a kid, and if you were an adult, you spoke to them once or twice a year, or you had to write letters paper letters, like through the mail, snail mail. And remember that? The U.S. Post Office? Long distance calling was probably on the order of 20 cents a minute when I was a kid, and maybe it was down to 10 cents a minute by the time I was in my 20s. Cell phones, big bricks that were installed in the car, mostly. It wasn't until I was like 30-something that they came out with like units for the regular public that were handheld, those ones that you pulled the thing up and had just a black and white LCD screen, and that's it. And text messaging. Yeah, right. Now you've got Facebook, and I've got family in Wisconsin. I've got family in Illinois. I've got family in Indiana. I've got family in Texas. I've got friends in Ohio. I've got family in Oregon. I've got friends up in Washington State, all over the country. I've got, childhood friends that I'm back in touch with, people I never would have really communicated once we moved away from each other back in the day. And that's a really good thing about Facebook. And then on top of it, Facebook connects like-minded people. But you got to remember, if you're connecting with people you choose to connect with, most of the time you're going to hear from people who think like you, because those are the people you choose to hang out with. So I don't know about all this bridging divides and stuff like that. It's more like an amplification of your own personal bubble in a way. And really, sometimes other viewpoints need to be considered, because usually there's some kernel of truth in there somewhere. All right. Some of them are just damn crazy. So yeah, I mean, you got you got to deal with that too. But overall, I think Facebook is a good thing. I think it's interesting that once people get over being people, you can connect with people from around the world. The internet's been good for that and bad for that. Like everything, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's a mixed blessing. You connect with good people, you connect with not so good people. There's just a lot to it. It's complex. Nothing is simple. Don't expect simple. Who expects a simple answer in life? I mean, things have complexities to them. There's nuance to everything. Nothing is just like this little one way and that's it. And Facebook is a prime example of that. It has a lot of good and it has a lot of bad. And deal with it or don't. Because otherwise, if you don't, well, give up your Facebook friends. Really? All right. So, another note, this is a little Wi-Fi adapter, and I can't pull it out and show it to you exactly, but this is a USB thumb drive, right? The Wi-Fi adapter is about the same size as this. Looks pretty close and similar to that. It's a TP-Link N150, and the reason I'm mentioning it is because I saw in a Linux support forum that it was pretty much plug and play with Linux. The PC that I converted to Linux, the one that I'm recording this show on, actually had no internal Wi-Fi. It's a little slim tower desktop machine, and it had to have a cabled internet connection. And I was pretty much stealing the internet connection from my printer, which I didn't really want to continue doing because it was making, things difficult with the printer. So I tried a different Wi-Fi adapter, and I just could not get it to work in Linux. The drivers just weren't around for it. Well, this little adapter, it's under $15. If you shop carefully, I think you can get it for under $5. And you just plug it in and it works in Linux Ubuntu 16.04 LTS. Boom, plug it in, connect to the Wi-Fi network. It's only a 2.4 gig. It doesn't have 5 gigahertz, just 2.4, but it gets you connected, and there's nothing to do except set up the net, put in the network password and hit connect. Can't beat it with a stick. So, and it's nice and cheap, and it just plain works. So I thought I'd share that on there because if you're building a Linux machine, which Linux is a free operating system that works on a lot of older machines that won't support Windows 10. Just saying. Might be a nice thing to learn and help you keep your PC longer without having to buy a new one, maybe. And if it doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi or the built-in Wi-Fi doesn't work in Linux, well, this one does. So you can just stick it in a USB port, and it's not very big, like you saw about the size of the thumb drive there. So moving on to that. Last story here is another one about Facebook, which I love to call Farcebook. Coffee. My favorite smell in the world is fresh ground coffee. Anyway, surprise! Quitting Facebook could be bad for you. This is an article on futurism.com, and there was a psychology study apparently that said that they studied people who took a break from Facebook, and although their stress hormone levels went down in their bloodstream, they didn't really notice it. Some of them felt just as stressed. They were looking forward to going back to Facebook, and guess what? It's about being able to share when you're having a stressful situation on Facebook and get support from all your far-flung friends, because a lot of people who are dealing with stress, people recognize that and they tend to be more supportive. Of course, there's always the odd jerk, but overall, it's kind of an emotional support mechanism for people who are going through a tough time in a lot of ways. That's maybe the flip side of some of those things where people have cyberbullied. Instead, this is like cyber support, or virtual mental health. I don't know what you want to call it, but I like it. Because I think it's a true thing. Again, that double-edged sword. So enough about Facebook tonight. I gotta say, I've been watching SNL this season, and it's been a long time since I used to watch SNL. Just Saturday Night Live I'm talking about here. And I'm just loving the comedy around politics this year. Some of you may know my political leanings out there. But rather than dive into it, I'm just going to say it's not going to be as much fun anymore when President PP is no longer president. Yeah, I called him that because, look, you got a president who has had 3 wives, very clearly has cheated on all 3 of them. He's, getting accused of doing porn stars. He's got the grab him by the pussy recording. He's got 19 women accusing him of some form or another of sexual assault. And then he's got the CIA golden showers dossier, and he's got the tiny hands thing, and it's all about his PP. Sorry. Come on. President PP, it just fits. Now, you got to laugh about it. Whether you agree with the guy or not, and, a lot of times, in most cases, I don't. But it is what it is, and you got to have some fun with it. And, well, here it is. That's what I'm calling him. I used to call him Thunder Pumpkin, but now just the other day it just hit me in the head. Wait, this really fits the guy. He is President PP. And he always will be in my mind, President PP. And I think Saturday Night Live is going to have a tough time with their opener. They're good with that, but right now their material is golden. So hope you enjoyed that little outburst, or whatever you want to call it. And thanks for listening. Everybody have a good night, and happy Vulcan fingers to you from the Agent of 42. And good night, President PP. Thanks.